Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Carla B Show. I know I changed it from Love Tribe. I decided to make it more personal. That way you feel closer to me. Anyway, I have a great message for you today and a training also. If you apply it, I promise you're going to see some positive effects from it. So, I wanted to talk about how sometimes when you are um, navigating through life, you might actually feel, because of how society and culture is set up, we actually feel sometimes like we can't focus. I think focus has become one of like the greatest problems in our generation of time right now, not just for people that are adults, but for kids, for teens, even for children. And yeah, we can blame a bunch of external factors. I feel like the external factors don't even matter. I don't think cell phones, technology, all of that, that doesn't matter. Um, in my walk through coaching adults, I've noticed that a lot of them complain a lot about reasons why things aren't working out for them, and usually it's always something external. And my answer to that, or my rebuke on that, is it doesn't matter what the external circumstances are. It's what matters is how you move. What matters is your integrity. Like, what is the reason behind doing that move and behaving that way? That's what matters. So society could be, a crap show. That doesn't mean that you just fall in line with it. It doesn't mean that you become a crap show as well. Like, how are you moving in your life? So when it comes to focus, there is no strategy or application that you can actually find that you can apply and boom, focus is going to be a natural for you. In order for you to become a really good person with focus, whether you have ADHD, attention deficit disorder, dyslexia, any kind of learning disability that affects your concentration, in order to strengthen your muscle of focus, you have to find what matters. Find what matters and focus will follow. That's often, my motto when it comes to coaching people on how to become better at focusing. You may actually be a very intelligent person in a variety of subject areas, but focus is your challenge, so you can't seem to perform in that particular setting. And now let's think about it in terms of a kid, right? Now as a kid, you start to think that you're dumb, you're stupid, you can't do a great job, when the truth is you're having focus problems. Why am I having focus problems? Because I think this is boring, I don't like the class, I don't like the teacher, I don't like school. Maybe that's not the problem. You haven't like found what matters to you. And since you're a kid, when I say kid, I mean like between the ages of like 10 and 17, you're a kid going through school system. If you don't find what matters to you, it'll be actually really hard for you to focus, even if you don't have a learning disability, simply because human brain and human nature does not concentrate or look for answers where it doesn't matter. I'll give you an example. Like, have you ever had a situation where it's been negative? You've had like an argument or a misunderstanding with someone and you feel like you've been wronged. And until you can prove your point as to how you've been wronged, why you are correct to feel the way you do, you actually don't stop. Like, even if you stop talking about it, your mind doesn't stop focusing on it or thinking about it. Why? Because that topic, that situation, that story, that scenario matters to you. So because it naturally matters to you, guess what? Guess what your mind does? Guess what your brain does? It keeps you with that as a target. You don't even have to like force it anymore. You wake up in the morning and that's one of the things that you start thinking about again. So that right there, human nature, human brain is designed to focus to what matters. So then how do you apply that when it comes to jobs, when it comes to school, when it comes to projects, when it comes to what you have to complete? We need to stop looking at things as like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to get this done. I have to whatever because I should be that. I should be doing that. I should be getting an A. I should be succeeding at this. I should be, at a different level in my career. What is the point of even getting to that if you haven't found what matters to you? And the question is, well, how do I find what matters? Well, maybe, for instance, if we're talking about a kid in school, maybe it's not the subject area that matters. You don't even really like it. You don't like math and you really don't like civics. Let's just say that that's the case for the kid. But there is something in the work you're doing in either one of those classes that I promise you, you will find why it matters. How do you look for that? How do you find it? Start picking whenever you get an opportunity. Start picking topics. Start picking points of view that you have to use in the work that you're doing. Why do I suggest that? Because the points of view that you have that you might think it sounds stupid, I'm not confident enough to share it, but it's those points of view, it's those thoughts in your mind that exist already that you do have. You just have to allow yourself some silent time in order to analyze what do I think about this? And as you are thinking about it, since it's human nature to find what matters, you are going to be able to pinpoint in that arena what matters. Once you pinpoint what matters in that arena, it's so much easier to focus on that, because then you have a reason to actually step forward to the next level, the next phase, the next part of the assignment. I don't know what that is for you, but you start to have the ability to focus. And this goes beyond even like the concept of getting people medicated. I'm just so tired. Part of the reason I started this podcast to put some of my life coaching strategies out there, and it may seem like I haven't put a lot, but that's because since I've started this channel, I have had people who have found me, who have contacted me personally, and have hired me to coach them. So my absence from here is a result of me coaching people again, even though I thought I would take a break. But for some reason, God sends people my way. I don't really promote any of my services. People find me. And so since that happens, it's very hard for me to reject a client, especially given that I learn about their story and I learn about what's going on with them. And it's stronger than I am. And I can't really say no when it comes to that. Some people benefit a lot from having a life coach because everything I do with you is customized to your needs. It's not clinical based in terms of this is what we do, step 1, then step 2, then step 3, where it's the same for every single client. No, it's customized to your situation, to your scenario, to your personality. My goal really, and I think the goal of anyone that's in this industry of life coaching, if you're in it like for real, not because it's just a trend or because you have life experience to share, but you're actually in it, the goal is to get the person to appreciate, value, and respect their own autonomy and act on it and apply it in their life. Because once you can do that, you respect your autonomy, you respect and yourself as an individual, not as part of a group, not as someone who's connected to other people, but you respect yourself as an individual. You then also start to have more love for yourself as an individual. And so when you can do that, it's very difficult for you to then look at yourself and not appreciate who you are and not see, the wonderfulness of that. And once you are able to see that, you actually realize that some of the things that maybe you're thinking need to be fixed, canceled, deleted off of who you are, that's not true. Change is not always about complete alteration of lifestyle. Sometimes change is really about having a different frame of mind of what already exists. You've just never been shown that. You've just never been given that as an action plan to put into place week by week or every 2 weeks. And I'm that person that helps with that. That's what a life coach does. So I'm here to talk about focus. Find what matters and focus will follow. Because people will often, whether they're teens or adults, it's really hard for them to harness and find like what they're passionate about because they haven't allowed themselves to actually write down in a list form what it is that I'm interested in, what it is that I'm passionate about currently. Not what you want to be passionate about, not what you think you should be passionate about, not the, cartoon idea of what passion is and then try to compare it to yourself. No, what are the things that you like now to do, I often find that people that say they struggle with one particular thing, when they start describing themselves and their life and what they do, they are able to practice the exact thing that they feel that they're missing in other parts of their life. They're just not seeing it and applying it to other arenas that need it. And it is a problem. It is a struggle because life is really hard. Life is very hard. Life is very unfair. Life is very stressful. You have people who and systems that just have certain expectations, or they entrap you in specific scenarios and situations that make you feel like you can't get out of it. But I have to honestly say, if you're able to sit with yourself and think, what is important to you, what matters to you currently, for instance, and make a list of that, right? First of all, it definitely helps you have the visual that maybe what in your mind has been mattering is not the right thing. That's also very important. It's not the right thing. And it also helps you see what is the right thing. What are the things you actually want to keep on that list, and what are the things you want to take off from that list. You won't know what that is unless you actually do this, and this is one of the reasons why the biggest tool in sessions with me is journaling, because journaling allows for me to create a physical image of what is in your mind and restructure it for the reframing that needs to happen for you to start living in the new frame as your pattern and not the old frame. Jesus gave us a message that it's not so much about, the concept of being born again is not so much about your physical body, like transforming fully. It's really about renewing of the mind. Renewing of the mind, like reframing things renews your mind. And once you renew your mind and you're going on a different program with new patterns that are working positively for you, it's really hard for you to go back because that doesn't matter to you anymore. Like, yeah, maybe that connection, that friendship, that situation used to matter, in a great deal for like 15 years for you, for 10 years, 5 years. But now that you have a new program for your mind and with how you want your life to look, you look at those situations and you're like, that doesn't matter to me anymore. That doesn't mean that you, like when we're dealing with relationships, it doesn't mean that you don't have love for those individuals or those people, because sometimes those people could be like even family members. You can still have love for them, but they're just not a part of your frame anymore. Why? Because a relationship with them doesn't matter to you because it hasn't really been benefiting you in any emotional, mental way ever. Those are such important sectors of life, emotional and mental. Those are the sectors of life. Emotional is, how you feel in your mind. Mental has to do with your brain, not just thoughts, but your brain as a physical organ that basically dictates everything going on in your body. And then there's the spiritual component, You can't ignore it. Because ignoring it, that's why you're struggling finding what matters. Part of the reason why people are struggling with focus is not because they can't concentrate or they're dumb or they're slow or they're stupid. It is because culture has basically annihilated the understanding that in order for you to notice and feel and have value for what truly matters for you, your mental, emotional, and spiritual health have to be synchronized. They just have to be synchronized. And a lot of the things that we have in our culture today are not feeding our spiritual health in a good way. They're giving you misinformation. They're allowing energy into your life that honestly is keeping you stuck and blocked. And they are convincing you that it's okay to, have a couple of, like in the New Age, have a couple of rocks around you infused with the energy from the universe, and they're going to help you manifest stuff into your life. It's not so. Like, why would you believe in those ritualistic practices, but yet you are foregoing the fact that from a spiritual perspective, there is a higher power that created all of that? Even if you're atheist, the higher power is science, okay? The higher power is nature itself, let's say. Because still, nature doesn't stop existing because you choose to say you're atheist and you don't believe in God. So people will be quicker to do certain rituals because they look for patterns. Because your brain, your human nature, wants to look for what matters. So since what matters to you is finding a pattern that works, well, let me do this ritualistic practice because it is a pattern that I can do, I can physically see, and I can put it into practice every day. This is gonna be good. Well, now this ritualistic practice matters to me, and your focus goes to that. You're burning incense, you're saging things, you have crystals everywhere, and you're very meticulous about how to do that so that what you are trying to get out of that can work. So do you see? And I often find that my clients that, for instance, are involved in stuff like that are people who tell me they struggle with focus. They can't seem to focus in a conversation. They daydream a lot when they're in meetings. They can't even really fully read a book. They keep veering off the story, or they can't really pay attention to what they're reading. They have to reread it several times. If they want to study or learn something new, it's really hard for them to sit quiet or sit still. So, okay, let me meditate. Well, what spiritual practice teaches me to meditate? Let me do that. Yoga, Buddhism, whatever. Again, you're doing rituals. It's no different than when I go to the gym and I see people use the gym machines, like the different workout machines, especially the weightlifting ones, the different weight machines. And instead of using their body as a source of power to move the machine, they're putting their body in a position where all they're doing is swinging back and forth on the machine, and they're not using the right body part. Like the body part that should be lifting the weight is not the one they're using. They're using other body parts as auxiliary, as assistant structures that assist the movement. So it just looks like they're swinging back and forth, as opposed to actually engaging their abs, or as opposed to actually engaging their biceps or triceps, or their chest muscles. So it's the same thing with ritualistic practices. People will do those steps, and they will do them repeatedly, unconscious of what's going on, because they think that the steps that they're doing is what's going to give them the result that they're looking for. So again, aren't you following something that has been explained to you to work, but you have to do it so many times for it to work? Isn't that exhausting and draining? Yeah. But here's the positive thing that you get. You are focusing. See? Why? It matters to you to get that pattern. It matters to you to make that pattern a part of your life. So you focus on it. Focus is not something that you can apply, consciously, is what I'm trying to say. And people and our society, especially in the education field, have been misguided to believe that focus is something that can be applied consciously to things, to studying, to doing work, to being in a meeting, to working on a project, even to how you are a presenter, how you present stuff. It's not. Behind the focus, you have to look to what matters. It's the matter part. What matters to you? When you find that, focus will follow. Because even this, delivering this content matters to me because I'm helping somebody. When I have physical evidence over 8 years of the people that have better lives as a result of me helping them find what matters, I can stand here or sit. I'm actually sitting. I can sit here right now and give you this message that finding what matters will enable you to know how to focus, or what focus is. Yeah, you can learn what focus is if you find what matters, but we're all trying to get to the point where focus becomes second nature, right? Think about when you leave your house and you get in your car. You don't have to focus to do that. Maybe the first couple of times that you were entering the world of being an adult and you had to make sure things are locked and that you have the keys you need for later, and you're in your car and you have your wallet with your driver's license, you had to kind of focus to do that, to understand that you have everything you need when you're on the road. But now you don't think about that anymore. You're doing it automatically. Why? Because initially it did matter to you to get it right, so you focused on it. Now it becomes second nature. You don't have to try so hard to actually do it well. It's just what you do. So this is another example as to how human nature takes something that matters, focuses, gets a good result from it, continues to do it. Over a period of time, that pattern becomes second nature to them. They can now relieve the focus from that point, or from that activity or from that situation. And now what else matters to them? Well, what else matters? Getting to work and starting certain particular tasks or certain particular things so that I'm on point for the meeting or for later today when I have to, I don't know, submit whatever with this deadline. So you start to then focus that. Why? Because it matters to you. Fulfilling the deadline matters to you. Or completing the project matters to you because it's a representation of, I don't know, a great idea that you want to set forth. Or it's a representation, maybe it's not even for you, maybe it's just a project that is going to actually benefit a colleague and they're going to get a promotion out of it because they worked with you on it. And whereby you will be so fulfilled with that as well, because it's a great feeling when you've helped a person elevate and you're already elevated yourself, but now another person's going to be able to do that as a result of fulfilling this with you. So again, that if that matters to you, focus is going to be very easy to do. It's not impossible. So I kind of wanted to, ask you, take a moment and write down 3 or 4 things that matter to you in your life. And this does not matter what age you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you are a young teen, if you are a young adult, or if you are an adult or older adult person, write down what matters to you. What are those 3 or 4 things that matter to you? There's no right or wrong answers. What I want you to have is a physical list in front of you that you can visually see what's in your mind so that you can kind of see, okay, of those things that you've written down that matter to you, if you had to cross out 2 of them, which one would they be? Because you can't have everything. Of those 4 items, all of them can't be at the same time. It's impossible. So whichever one of those 2 it is, just take them out and focus on the 2, or look at the 2 that do matter to you and just apply yourself there. Focus tends to follow when you are applying yourself, when you're trying, when you're moving in that direction. Your energy will flow in the direction of what matters to you. And when you are doing that, that is what's strengthening your mental ability to focus. And the purpose of doing something like this is not to, it sounds like a corny action to do, but the reason why you would have to actually physically do these steps is that your brain can't tell the difference between what you think and what you see happening. To your brain, it's the same thing. Your body feels it the same way. So this is why you have to put into action specific things physically so that your mind, your brain can start to assimilate, process those actions as patterns. Thereby, a new frame of behavior is designed. That's how you get it. You're not going to have a new frame of behavior if you never try something different. And trying means physical action. You can't just think about it. You can't just imagine it. You have to do it. There's a passage in the Bible that says faith without works means nothing. It is nothing. It's just as good as no faith. So if you have faith in something, you have to do something that shows that you have faith in it, that faith is real, something physical. You have to act with faith. You can't just talk about it and imagine it and be like, yeah, that's what I have. No. So write down what matters to you. I would say it should be no more than just 4 things in your life. If you're struggling with focus, write down what matters to you. Cancel out the 2 things that when you see them on paper, you're like, no, I don't want that. Like, I don't want that on as part of my list. Because yeah, it's important, but honestly, if you had to number them 1 through 4, which one is number 1 and 2? That's what I'm saying. Whichever one's number 1 and 2, that's where your energy should flow. And definitely, in order to find what matters, it's really important for you to have respect for your autonomy. That means consider what it is that you want, what it is that you like, how you like certain things, how you think about certain things. Consider that as part of picking what matters. So that when you are doing the selection of those 4 items on your list, the 2 that are at the top are things that you can, with yourself, agree that those are the most important to me. So my energy is going to be dedicated to those two things. And as you do that, you will find yourself able to regain empowerment when it comes to your ability to focus. Anyway, this is just my tidbit to you. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment or contact me if you want. You can always find me on Instagram, carla.barandas on Instagram, or this channel right here. You can comment, you can message me. I have my email in the show more section, but I definitely love you so much. Understand that for someone in the position that I have to say that, it's genuine, even though I don't know who is seeing this video. I don't know how many people watch it, but I do know it is caught by several individuals and definitely has helped a lot of people. So with that in mind, give it a shot. Not because of me, not because someone else is telling you, but because you're worth it. You're worth the effort. You're worth the moment. You're worth the 30 minutes. I think that's how long this video is going to be, 30 minutes long. You're worth that. And if this hasn't helped, let me know also. You know why? Because none of us are perfect. None of us are amazing, perfect human beings. I think that once we accept that and we live and walk in that, it makes our life more beautiful because we're able to look at others with a lot of compassion and a lot less selfish attitude. Selfish attitude will have you blocked off, will have you believing the worst, and definitely will have you with walls around yourself that don't allow you to even connect with your own self, whereby you don't respect your autonomy. So let's get out of that. Let's stop believing the negative and let's start fostering the positive. Write your list of what matters. Number it 1 through 4. Focus on the top 2. And trust me, focus will be definitely up to you. I love you so much for watching. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to keep my posts up on this channel. Anyway, happy 2025. New year, new vibe.